What is going on, everyone? Welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Nick. I'm your host. If you're a current subscriber, thanks for coming back and checking out another location with me. Today we are diving back in time to discuss the legend, one of the most famous outlaws in American history, Jesse James. Right behind me is the home, the actual home where Jesse James was killed. This is not the original location, however. Before we start our tour, we will go there. So let me give you a breakdown of what we're going to do in this video. First, we are going to head about 2 minutes up the street to where this house originally was. See the land, his land, the area where he was killed. Then we'll come back here, tour the house, and then at the end of the video, we're going to his grave site, closer down to Kansas City. I hope you enjoy. Let's begin. Like I said, it was this actual house where Jesse James was living under another name. He was living under the name of Thomas Howard. On April 3rd, 1882, he was shot and killed right here by a man he trusted, Robert Ford. Not in a shootout, not in a robbery, but while adjusting a picture on the wall. And we have made it. This is only a couple minutes up the street from where Jesse's house is today, where we just were. And I'm looking at it now. Not much to see, but there is a marker here, so we can say we added it in the video and we saw it. So let's check it out. And what we're looking at right now, Jesse James Hill. This is where the house that we will tour, the house that Jesse was killed in, this is where it originally stood, on this tiny little plot of land. He was kind of playing it low key here and went under a different name that we'll discuss going forward, but let's take a look at this. Jesse James Hill. Outlaw Jesse James was killed here April 3rd, 1882 by Bob Ford. The house is now on the grounds of the Pate House Museum, 2 blocks south. This hill has been lowered more than 50 feet. And there he is. Wow, lowered more than 50 feet. So I guess all this land here, we would have been, well, maybe, I don't know how much 50 feet is, but closer to the top of these trees today. 50 feet higher, yeah. This is it. It's cool that they still have it as an empty lot, and there's the marker right there. But I know, like I said, it's not much to look at all today, but to think and know the one and only Jesse James lost his life right here. Well, up a little more, as we just said, but right here. Another place on this channel that I never thought I would have seen in person, yet here we are. So now that we've checked that off our list, let's head back to the house and get our tour tickets and go inside and see where it all happened. All right, now that we've checked that first spot off our list, let's go inside the house. Oh, one more thing before we get started. I wanted to mention, I was just touring Jesse James' birthplace. It was an absolutely fabulous tour. I learned so much. Dan, my personal tour guide, still thank him for that. So I dive a lot more into the story of Jesse James there. So that video will come out before this one. If you're watching this first, I hope you go check that out next. Either way, enough wasting time. Let's go in the house. I originally wasn't going to make this part of the video, but I had a friend ask me what I was doing in Kansas City. I said, oh, I'm filming some Jesse James stuff. He said, who's that? So maybe some of you don't know who Jesse James is. Let's go through the quick facts. Jesse Woodson James was born on September 5th, 1847 in Missouri. During the Civil War, Jesse James and his brother Frank were both Confederate soldiers. Jesse was involved in the Centralia Massacre, where 22 unarmed Union soldiers were killed, a pivotal event in his life. After the war, Jesse and Frank became notorious outlaws, robbing banks and trains. Jesse and Frank are believed to have pulled off the first daylight bank robbery in peacetime, robbing the Liberty, Missouri Bank. In 1881, Missouri Governor Thomas T. Crittenden offered a $10,000 reward for the capture of the James brothers. Now let's discuss his death and why I came to this house today. Jesse James was killed by Robert Ford, a member of his gang, who shot him in the back of the head while he was in his home. Jesse was murdered while adjusting a picture on the wall. Right here in this house, we'll see that coming up. Some portray Jesse James as a Robin Hood figure, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, though this is a romanticized view. Jesse James remains a symbol of the Wild West and is still the subject of books, films, and music today. Looks like the entrance is up here. I don't know how much it costs, but I guess we'll see. Jesse James' home. Shot and killed in this house, as we just said. It was then at where we just were, Hill. It was moved here in 1977, the same year Elvis died. As a matter of fact, there's the historical marker. All right. Wow, look at all these they even have this too. In that first video, I did see the original tombstone and gravesite of Jesse James. Like I said, at the end, we will go to where he's buried now.
Get you to sign my book there for me. All right, they would. Once you sign the book, if I can get you both to step in there.
Okay. So there's an audio that's gonna go.
Killed in this house April 3rd, 1882. At age 34, he'd been an outlaw almost half his life. He moved here with his wife and two small children on Christmas Eve, 1881, and lived here 100 days. The house was located then at 1318 Lafayette Street on the hill about a block north of here. On April 3rd, Jesse was in this room with two gang members, Bob and Charles Ford, making plans to rob the Pledge City Bank the next day. Jesse noticed the needle point on the wall was crooked. Because it was a warm morning and the door was open, he took out his gun so neighbors wouldn't see them. Then he climbed on a chair to straighten the picture. It was the chance the Fords had been waiting to collect a $10,000 reward offered by Governor Tom Crittenden. Jesse fell to the floor dead. Only Bob fired. The bullet entered behind his right ear, and some believe it came out over the left eye, leaving the legendary bullet hole. Researchers now think the bullet did not leave Jesse's head. The Fords sent a telegram to the governor and then surrendered to City Marshal Enos Craig. But instead of collecting a reward, the Fords were charged with murder and were sentenced to hang. Within hours, the governor pardoned them. Below the needle point is the bullet hole. Over the years, people chipped away pieces of the bullet hole. The framed gun is a .44 caliber Smith & Wesson, similar to the gun used to kill Jesse. The famous outlaw was responsible for the deaths of at least 16 people, but sympathy did not rest with the Fords for killing him with his back turned. Within 2 years, Charles Ford committed suicide, and 11 years later, Bob Ford was gunned down in Crete, Colorado by Ed O'Kelly. The James family rented his house from a city councilman for $14 a month and had no time for elaborate escape routes. There was a trap door into the half basement, and in the bedrooms a way into the attic and out onto the back porch roof. Note the unusual love seat by the door. Gentlemen used the backrest, and ladies romancing had no place to lean but into their lovers' arms. In the next room, you'll learn about the 1995 exhumation of Jesse James at Kearney, Missouri. You may also view the artifacts found in the grave. DNA test by Professor James Starrs confirmed that it was indeed Jesse James and not an imposter who was killed here April 3rd, 1882. Thank you.
Crazy to think he would have been standing right there in a chair, just like that. Fixing a picture right up here. And that happened. And he would have been laying right here. Wow, this is where we just were. Because the yard was bigger back then. But I was literally just standing right there. So yeah, I could see it's 50 feet higher. There wasn't even trees then. Wow. Nice. Oh, this shows. This is the day that he was killed. Photo we were just looking at. And this is when they were lowering the James home in the first of many moves. Here it is today. Oh, this is when they were moving the house. Look at that. Yeah, you could see here how much, 50 feet higher, yeah. This is his kitchen cabinet. I love anything that's original rather than the replicas. Of course, the 15, 16-year-old Jesse James portrait. Many faces of Jesse James. So this is cool. As he's grown up, go through these quick. He's a handsome young man. And then this is probably his most famous photo next to the 16-year-old photo. But then when he died, he had a full beard. This is cool that they have this too, because in the previous video I went and saw his original grave, so this is where we just were. They're exhuming it. Oh my gosh, look at, they have like film crews and stuff there too. And then next we're going to go to where he's laid to rest today. His third funeral. Well, this is really cool. Broken glass from the coffin viewing glass. Wow. So yeah, he had the full beard then. This is a bullet covered from the chest area. I saw some of these in the previous video as well. This is coffin nameplate. And then pieces from the original coffin all around. Castings of Jesse's teeth indicate he frequently visited the dentist for gold fillings. Wow. Casting of the skull of Jesse James. His skull was found in 32 pieces in 1995 exhumation. So we're going into the bedroom next. One of two. This was Jesse and Z's bedroom. Wow, this is where he slept. Sure, not the same bed, but wow. Oh, there he is with the beard. Wow, I just found out this sign is the original one that he was fixing. Right there. That was the one. Still crooked today, never got it straightened. And then the sink is original too. That's really cool. Wow.
Also in that black glass case over here. The shoes down at the bottom was his brother Frank's.
Mm-hmm.
The shaving mug above it was Jesse's.
Wow.
Far right bottom glasses were Jesse's mother's. Revolver up and out with the white handle was Frank's. Most unique piece we have is the rattlesnake tie that was wore by Frank.
Holy cow.
And the rest are just mainly period pieces.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a rattlesnake tie before.
First time I seen one when I started working here.
That's crazy. It's crazy how, I know people were generally smaller back then too, but like how tiny the shoes are.
Mm-hmm.
They look like they could be like women's shoes today.
Jesse was 5'6" and Frank was about 5'6.5".
Wow. It's his mom's glasses. Some crazy stuff. Oh, I wanted to ask you, there's that whole, obviously there's that whole story, he didn't die and he lived to be an old man, and what are your thoughts on that whole thing?
DNA is pretty accurate.
That he...
It was 99.7 that it was him when they exhumed his body in 1995.
Yeah. It's like the whole conspiracy theory stuff.
Yeah, there's people from Wichita, St. Louis, especially in the Merrimack Cavern down there. That was one of their escape routes. They claimed, they had a museum down there for a while, I don't know if they still do or not. They claimed he lived his life out down that way. That was part of the reason they did the DNA.
Right.
In 95. A lot of people were putting down this museum.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know about the DNA, so if they did that, I mean, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
You said 95% accurate?
It was 99.7.
Oh, okay.
But they did the DNA in 1995.
Okay. That was the year my brother was born. 95. Awesome.
The gal that's in the middle is his great-granddaughter.
Oh, really?
Betty Barr.
Wow, look at that.
And the pieces I showed you that we have, she's the one that donated them back.
Oh, that's nice. Is she still alive?
She passed away in 2007.
Oh, okay. Wow. It's crazy that's what it was like. Not so much today. These are actual, I'd pass the sign right up. Tombstones from the 1850s, Russell Cemetery, south of St. Joseph, bulldozed in the 70s. So they brought some of them here. Samuel Robb, Henry A, J.T. Russell. Wow, and they're here. Now knowing what we know, it definitely hits you. Like, Jesse James was a man who lived by the gun, but at the end did not die in a fair fight. His life ended with a betrayal, not really with bullets blazing. Very interesting. Wow, I said this in my previous video, but all the workers here, so nice. And like, I'm just amazed because normally when I film in museums, I usually get told you can't film in here, or, you know, they see the microphone, they're like, what are you doing? But super nice, holy cow. And it's good too that I got to talk to the gentleman behind the counter. I didn't get his name, but a lot of people a lot of people come see these museums, they go in, look around, and get out, but I like to ask questions. And it's so good because I only know what I research or from my notes, but the people who work here, like, they're the pros. They know what actually happened, and they can point out all this different stuff, and they give you all this cool information. So either way, if you're in this area, definitely come check it out. It was only $5 to tour that, and to think what happened here, it's awesome stuff. So now let's get back in the car. We're gonna head south, and we are going to see the final resting place of famous outlaw Jesse James. See you when we get there. We are here, Mount Olivet Cemetery. Man, I have had a full-blown Jesse James day. To recap, I started off about 7 minutes from here, where I am now, at his birthplace and the James family farm, which was amazing. Then I drove an hour north, an hour about on the dot, to St. Joseph, Missouri, to see where his house was originally, and the house he died in. I toured that. And now I'm here to see the final resting place of Jesse James. And he's not too hard because he has a sign and I could see it right away. So this will be a great way to end this day. Check that out. Guarantee the only person in this cemetery who has a sign like that. Wow. Jesse W. James and Zerelda James. Holy cow. This is crazy to see, to say the least. Wow. I've seen some famous graves in my YouTube career, but this one's really cool. Jesse W. James. There's a drawing, if you could see, cross, American flag. Wow, and I just noticed this. Look at, they have assassinated. Not just born, but they have assassinated April 3rd, 1882. His wife Zerelda died November 13th, 1900. So not too far apart. And there's 2 flowers. And buried on each side of him, to the left, is his mom, Zerelda Samuel. I always thought it was interesting that his wife and mom had the same name. That must have been a little odd for him. Maybe he didn't care. I don't know. But we learned a ton about his mom in my previous video when I went to the James farm. So it's cool to see her grave. And then Jesse's stepfather, Dr. Reuben Samuel, we learned a lot about him too. I actually talked about a story where he was being hanged right outside the home for answers. They were trying to get answers out of him, or information out of him. He didn't die from the hanging, but it all happened on the James farm. Look at that. They even have a chair. Well, I should say a seat, bench. Gosh, I'm tired, if you couldn't tell. It's been a long day of filming. A flippin' bench. There we go. If I can get the words out. So you could sit and spend a quiet moment with the James family. It's still mind-blowing to me that his body was moved to here. Still can't believe I'm seeing this. This feels so good to sit. If you guys knew what I went through today and yesterday driving on this trip, you would know. But this feels amazing to sit here. Beautiful breeze blowing in the wind, and I'm sitting right across from the James family. Perfect way to end this day here at his gravesite. And you have to think, like, was he a true outlaw, bad person, or was he a victim of his times? You know, I learned so much today. Once again, not in this video, but in the previous video when I went to his birthplace, I learned so much about like what led him to be who he was. And there were so many things that happened that like just kept pushing him and pushing him and pushing him and pushing him until he's like, you know what, I had enough. Time to get back. So could be a victim of the times. It's cool to be here though. Supposedly the inscription on here read, quote unquote, murdered April 3rd, 1882 by a traitor and coward whose name is not worthy to appear here, unquote. That was written by his mother, Zerelda. She definitely loved her boy, that's for sure, as we learned in the previous video. But I don't see any of that here today. It just says assassinated. But that's interesting to read. What a journey it has been today, from the original land to the house where he took his final breath to now this quiet and peaceful cemetery where he lays 6 feet below us right here. It's been a very interesting, cool day to say the least. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about Jesse James? Legend, outlaw, murderer, a victim of his own time? Let me know your thoughts. Either way, folks, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It helps more than you know. I encourage you to check out any of these playlists next. And most of all, if you haven't seen the first video where we go to his birthplace, see his original gravesite, I hope you check that out. I'll actually put that video right here. So hope you enjoyed. I sure did. And I'll see you in the next one.